Hello, spellcasters of all shapes and sizes. My name is Chance. Welcome to my spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the 31st episode of our second level spell series. Today we're going to be taking a look at a very special and very controversial spell within the D&D community. We're looking at Flock of Familiars, which basically does what it sounds like it does, which is really nice. I like it when spells are accurate like that, so it's a good feeling. It is usable by the wizard and the warlock, and it is found in the Lost Laboratory of Kawash. I'm pretty sure that's how that's pronounced. If I'm wrong, let me know. Kawash? Something like that. Anyways, not important. What is important is the spell itself. So that being said, let's take a look at its mechanics. The effect at a glance is as followed. You can summon a maximum of 3 familiars. You can telepathically communicate with them and cast touch spells through them. Your casting time is 1 minute. The range is touch. The duration is 1 hour, and this is a concentration spell, so please do bear that in mind. At higher levels, you gain 1 extra familiar for each slot level above second, and in terms of components, you're looking at verbal and somatic. The school, of course, being conjuration, which makes a lot of sense, so I like it. Something worth pointing out here is that it is a concentration spell, and the traditional Find Familiar is not, so make sure you are well aware of that. Also, if you already have a familiar, that is counted towards your maximum of 3, so you'd be able to get 2 additional ones if you already had one. That being said, let's move on to its full description here so we know exactly what we're talking about. You temporarily summon 3 familiars. Spirits that take animal forms of your choice. Each familiar uses the same rules and options for a familiar conjured by the Find Familiar spell. All the familiars conjured by this spell must be the same type of creature, celestial, fey, or fiend, your choice. If you already have a familiar conjured by the Find Familiar spell or similar means, then 1 fewer familiars are conjured by this spell. Familiars summoned through this spell can also telepathically communicate with you and share their visual or auditory senses while they were within 1 mile of you. When you cast a spell with the range of touch, 1 of the familiars conjured by this spell can deliver this spell as normal. However, you can cast a touch spell through only 1 familiar per turn. At higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, you conjure 1 additional familiar for each spell slot level above 2nd. Very nice stuff here. So good. Now, the reason why there's a little bit of controversy surrounding the application and use of this spell is predicated around the fact that the warlock comes equipped with this. Now, that being said, if you are a warlock and you have picked the Pact of the Chain, the question is can you use those extended familiar options towards this spell? Now, it's tricky because the spell itself specifies that you have to use the Find Familiar options, but the Pact of the Chain says it lets you add a couple other options to that. So, I don't know. Personally, I would allow it. I know that to be sure. I understand that there's some balancing issues regarding it, just due to the fact that we've covered literally every familiar option. I'll put that playlist down beneath in the comment section and at the end of the video as well if you want to check it out. That being said, however, I can see a DM not allowing it too, especially at early levels. It's a little tricky because a lot of the familiar abilities are quite nice and they're kind of meant to prop up the warlock in a couple ways. So having 3 of them or more running around might be a little bit of a headache for your average DM, especially the imp. I can imagine the imp being an absolute shitstorm to deal with. The ability to turn invisible, and you throw in Devil's Sight into the mix, and shapeshifting, and poison, and it doesn't... I can see why DMs are apprehensive, is all I'm saying. In any case, let's move on to some alternative uses here, just to kind of get our creative juices flowing here. So one of the most important alternative uses that I think relates to this spell is the ability to make plans go off seamlessly. Not only does the spell provide you a great way of gathering auditory senses, but it also provides a great way to communicate with your allies or maybe even the enemies during intense negotiation. For example, let's say you have a signal where one of the birds caws, and that is the sign to move forward and press the advantage. I think that's great, and the fact that you can have 3 or more of these is super great in terms of planning complicated procedures, or maybe even using it as a great distraction. Also, I think this is a great spell to be used for scouting out ahead and mapping out terrain, especially since a lot of the familiars have the ability to fly over great distances, and with the owl's ability of flyby, you could get very close and personal to an enemy camp and not worry about taking any real damage. Outside of that, this is a great spell to use if you want to balance an encounter in your favor, not through virtue of exclusively using the top tier familiars that the Warlock pack provides, but just through virtue of using the help action that all familiars can use and have access to, essentially giving 3 or more of your allies advantage on basically whatever it is they want to do. It's really great, really nice. There are a lot of DMs who do not allow this spell in their game just because it is very keen and very eager for manipulation. So just bear in mind that your DM has the final approval, so don't abuse it too much. But that being said, if you have any alternative uses, ideas, concepts, questions, concerns, please put them down beneath in the comment section. I really enjoy reading them over. I really enjoy hearing from you guys. That being said, if you like that nice hand-drawn gnome and you would like your own hand-drawn D&D character, please check out the guild hall to figure out exactly how to do that. That being said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and as always, happy casting, everyone.